Thanks, the gentleman. The chair now recognizes Representative Fong from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, thank you, Administrator, for being here and for your leadership. A few questions. I represent a lot of rural communities in the Central Valley of California. We've been dealing with floods and fires for a very long time. The Burrell fire recently was the largest fire that ever hit Kern County, and I was wondering, rural communities have a challenge of capacity, and of course, coming from a large state, sometimes a lot of times the per capita indicator doesn't help rural communities. I was wondering if, from your perspective, has there been conversations about creating a county level or a zip code level threshold so that resources can go help these communities rebuild?
Could you repeat the last part of the question again?
Is there a way to help communities, rural communities, rebuild when the tragedies and the fires and the floods, they don't hit the major disaster declaration? Is there a way are you guys looking at ways to adjust the per capita indicator to allow for more rural community rebuilding after a disaster?
So I got your question. Thank you for the question. So the question is about rural areas and meeting the threshold. What I will say to that is that, and I don't want to get ahead of the FEMA Council, but the president wants for the country better emergency management, and it's reasonable to believe that piece that you're just speaking to would be a part of that. Because I don't personally come from a rural community, but my parents come from a rural community. I spent a lot of time in rural community. My best friend is a hog farmer in eastern North Carolina. I know what rural communities are. So it's reasonable that would be considered in something in the future, sure. Yes.
I would certainly love to partner with you on that and your council. It's in an area where rural communities just don't have the capacity to, when a fire hits, significant impact to that community, and they may need resources, but they just may not hit the threshold of a major disaster declaration, and so we want to ensure that we right-size the response.
Yeah, you have my commitment that I'll engage with you and we can kind of look at it and get your ideas.
Thank you very much. I want to follow up from questions that my colleague from Utah asked. We also dealt with floods. My community in Tulare County had to endure and to kind of front a lot of the resources to help rebuild. FEMA has somewhat, before you, a more of a complicated, complex assistance, work through the complexity of the assistance programs. Is there a way to simplify the reimbursement process and maybe expand the advanced payments process to help rebuild roads, rebuild bridges that may have been washed away from like a flood?
So once again, thanks for your question. And when my team did the mission analysis when we first came aboard, it was kind of phase one of the mission analysis. And now we're breaking down each one of the mission essential tasks, and now we're getting to those things you're talking about right now. Once again, I'll share that with you when the time comes.
Sure. And your team has been very helpful since the new administration has come in. I think kind of working through the complexity. So I think you're going to hear a lot from a lot of the rural areas. Small communities, they don't have the technical assistance capacity to work through everything, and the back and forth constantly adds a layer of bureaucracy that maybe we can cut through.
Yeah, it's a very important issue.
And then in terms of incentivizing investments to mitigate before disaster strikes, has FEMA and your team looked at how to better incentivize investments in areas of limited resources?
We are working on that now. This will be part of the discussion, the wider discussion that we can have, if you give me some time on that.
Perfect. And I would just want to extend an invitation for you to come to my community. We'd roll out the red carpet for you if you ever come to California. And with that, I'll eat back.
I would love to come.